step we need to consider is when we do the alternations. So will that alternation to make good to the community? Will that alternation make good to the use to the buildings? So this is, I think, is more important for that.
Well, that is a very interesting question, and we are always asking ourselves, as practicing architect and also architecture educator, who owns the building? Who is the building for? Is this the architect's building, or the architect is only an agent to do something for those who own the building? So is this my architecture or people's architecture? Now, when we approach the Central Oyster Center, and you ask me what we believe, is that the building and the architecture belong to the people. The architect, as I've said, is only a chef in the kitchen who serves the people of that place. So if the people of Hong Kong want, to demolish that building, let it be demolished. If the architects, if the people of Hong Kong want the building to be safe, let's save the building. Again, if people in Hong Kong want the building to be changed, let's change the building. I would say that building is belong to the people of Hong Kong, and the architect is only an agent. So if you want to change the building 40, 60 years later, I might not be here already. So how can I stop you from changing that? And you don't have to ask me whether I will be happy or not, because I'm in somewhere that is already very happy. So the question is, not my architecture. It's not my architecture or this architect's architecture. It's the architecture for the people of Hong Kong, and then let them decide it.
Stefan?
I strongly disagree. But again, I'm coming from a German background. In Germany, the architect is the author of the building, and any alterations to the building, the architect has to approve it, because he has created it, he knows what the aesthetics are of the building, and he should be involved in altering the building, as long as he's around at least. I want to give one brief example for those of you who know. The Olympic Center in Munich, the tennis structure. That was a football stadium for FC Bayern Munich, and it wasn't working that well because there's the athletic track wrapping around the pitch, and that's not good for football stadiums. People want to sit right up against the pitch. So the football teams were asking whether the stadium could be altered such that people could move all the way up to the pitch, and the athletic track would be removed. And the original architect, Benisch, he was asked whether this could be done. Initially he said no, but then when he was convinced to look at it financially. But what's interesting is that actually the conclusion, ultimately, even though he had looked at it and he had studied it and he looked at lowering the whole pitch down or raising all the ranks up, because somehow he need to bring them closer, that it was actually destroying the initial concept of this tent structure. It was in conflict with it. What happened is the city and the clubs decided to build another stadium, another football stadium, and the Olympic Stadium is still intact. And I strongly believe that there's one author to a building, and that author ultimately knows best what should happen to the building. And the Central Market is in fact a good example, because it's been altered over time by different means and different architects, and it wasn't good for the building. It destroyed it.
Okay, so it's good. Let's take stock here. Vito started this morning and says, let's restore the building as much as, and find back the building. Find it back and make it speak again. All the way on the other end, of course, we've got Barry's team, and we've got Vincent's team. So where is the audience? Where are you if you would have a choice between minimum intervention or trying to find new uses and be free to take this building and make something new out of it? Where are you? There's an A and a B.
And a C, which is put up something different.
Right. Okay, but the C and the B are the same. So we're going to go completely different, or we're going to try to find back the original and then start with the building. So I'm just,
I think there's a difference. I think if the people came to a view that building is not worthwhile retaining, you pull it down, build something new, that's quite a different story.
That's not a B or a C.
It's not a B, it's a different...
It's a C.
Yeah, I think you can...
Okay, fine, then we have an A or a B or a C.
The building can...
Now, you don't have a buzzer, so you can't push a buzzer. So I'm going to ask you to raise your hands when I say a minimum, I'll say maximum intervention, and I'll say completely something new. Who's on minimum? Who's on maximum intervention is allowed, depending what people want? Who's ready to crash the building and build something completely new? Park or a high-rise or whatever. Okay, here you go, here you go. So, what are we looking? 60, 35, 2%. So that gives a sense of where we are. I'm going to. It is now about almost 12:30, and we have always said that we stop at 12:30, but I don't think it's fair for anybody to go now. Are you guys ready for another 15 minutes? Yes? Everybody's ready for another 15 minutes? Then I'll start on the left. I want to see some hands, people that want to do questions. I saw a hand here before, yeah? I saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I've pointed you, so try not to change, okay? It confused me. So 8 questions, try to keep them short.
Mine's not actually a question, it's just a follow-up from that. It's just, I just wanted to say that I don't think you can make it so simple as saying A or B, like that. I think somehow I actually would like to see combining the two extremes of the first idea and the last idea. I kind of like the idea of keeping traditional, but then adding something completely and utterly different with it. So mixing the two, I think you can't just put one of the other.
Okay, Vincent is putting his fingers up. All right, what's the second one up here?
I'm not sure you can separate hard and soft, because to me, whatever you do with the hard, it's the programming and the management that's going to make the success or otherwise of whatever project you're looking at. If this is really belonging to the community, and probably of all the heritage projects we're discussing at the moment, this is the most community, probably, because it's really tried to bring in ideas from everybody. Don't we need a management plan? A proper management plan? The principles of management going forward. I understand that what Vincent's been saying, you need some flexibility. Barry said the same. But to me, the preservation of the character and heritage of the building is also important. If we have principles of management, within that you can always change exactly how the programming works, but you do have parameters. And I think what we do here is so rarely do we get either a conservation management plan up front, so we all know where we are, nor do we have a proper programming and management system or plan written before we commence. And to me, I don't know how people agree, if we had a management plan, we wouldn't be having half of these discussions, because the principles would be laid down. We could still have flexibility. We can still change uses over time. You can't have this frozen in aspect now in any way. It's got to progress with the community changes. Hong Kong's changing every day. Our buildings need to change as well. But surely if they're heritage and they've got history, they need to change within parameters which are established as being acceptable all round. Not quite a question, but do people agree?
I was going to say that there's another question, Maggie, which makes it difficult, but Bauhaus said form follows function. So it's a point being made here by Maggie, but I think earlier on, and Michael said it, he said it was clear what everybody wanted. So the function is clear. So where are we not clear?
Yeah, I guess.
You're on.
It's on.